Hey everyone. Listen up, because what I'm about to share with you could literally be the difference between staying safe and comfortable or being completely unprepared when things go sideways. If you've been hearing the buzz about potential grid issues around April 8th, you're not alone. Whether it's solar flares, infrastructure vulnerabilities, or planned maintenance that could go wrong, the smart move is to prepare now rather than panic later. And if you want more no-nonsense survival tips and real talk about staying ready for anything, smash that subscribe button right now, because we're diving deep into this today. So let's get right into it. First things first. Water. You can survive weeks without food, but only days without water. And when the grid goes down, your tap might stop flowing real quick. You need to stockpile at least 1 gallon per person per day. And I'm talking minimum 2 weeks worth, though a month is better. Get those big 5-gallon jugs from the store. Fill up every container you've got. And don't forget about water purification tablets or a quality filter like a Sawyer or LifeStraw. If the power's out for an extended period, you'll also want unscented bleach for purification. 8 drops per gallon, let it sit for 30 minutes, and you're good to go. Fill your bathtubs before the 8th, too, if things start looking dicey. That's easy backup water for washing and flushing toilets. Next up, food, but not just any food. We're talking non-perishable items that don't need cooking or refrigeration, because your stove might be electric, and your fridge will be a useless box within hours. And stock up on canned goods like beans, vegetables, tuna, and chicken. Grab peanut butter, crackers, dried fruit, nuts, granola bars, and beef jerky. Rice and pasta are great if you have a way to cook them without power, which we'll get to in a minute. Don't forget a manual can opener, because I promise you won't want to be smashing cans open with rocks when you're hungry. Think about comfort food too, because morale matters during stressful times. Some chocolate, cookies, or hard candy can make a huge difference mentally. Now, let's talk about cooking without electricity. You need alternative heat sources, and I mean yesterday. A camping stove with extra propane canisters is clutch. Make sure you're using these outdoors or in well-ventilated areas, only because carbon monoxide poisoning is no joke. Charcoal grills work great, too, if you've got the space. Just stock up on charcoal and lighter fluid. For indoor safe options, grab some Sterno cans. They're compact, easy to store, and can heat up food or water without producing dangerous fumes. If you're really prepared, a rocket stove or a Kelly kettle are excellent investments. And here's a pro tip. Learn how to use these things now, not when the lights go out and you're fumbling around in the dark. Speaking of light, you absolutely need multiple sources of illumination. Flashlights are obvious, but make sure you've got LED ones, because they last way longer on batteries. And yeah, stock up on batteries, like way more than you think you need. Different sizes too, because your flashlight might take D batteries while your radio needs AA's. Headlamps are even better than flashlights because they free up your hands for other tasks. Grab some quality rechargeable ones with solar chargers if possible. Candles are great for ambient light, and they're cheap, but keep them away from kids and pets and never leave them unattended. Glow sticks are underrated too. They're safe, last for hours, and kids love them, which helps keep everyone calm. Lanterns, both battery-powered and propane, can light up whole rooms and make everything feel less apocalyptic. Communication is something most people completely overlook, and it's critical. When the grid's down, your cell phone is probably useless, either because towers are out or because you can't charge it. Get yourself a hand crank emergency radio, preferably one with NOAA weather alerts. These usually have phone charging capabilities too, which is huge. Speaking of charging, invest in solar power banks and keep them charged up before April 8th. A small portable solar panel can keep your essential devices running. Two-way radios or walkie-talkies are excellent for communicating with family members if you get separated, or if you need to coordinate with neighbors. Make sure everyone in your household knows the plan for where to meet and what to do if normal communication goes down. Temperature control is life or death depending on where you live. If April 8th brings cold weather to your area, you need ways to stay warm without central heating. Stock up on warm blankets, sleeping bags rated for cold temperatures, and thermal underwear. Layer up with wool or synthetic materials, not cotton. Because cotton kills when it gets wet. Hand warmers and foot warmers are cheap and effective for staying comfortable. If you have a fireplace, make sure you've got plenty of firewood and that your chimney is clean and safe to use. Space heaters that run on propane or kerosene can work, but again, ventilation is crucial. For warmer climates, battery-powered fans, staying hydrated, and knowing how to create shade and cross-ventilation will keep you from overheating. Medical supplies are non-negotiable. When the grid's down, getting to a hospital might be impossible, or they might be overwhelmed. Your first aid kit needs to be stocked, and I mean really stocked. Bandages of all sizes, gauze pads, medical tape, antiseptic wipes, antibiotic ointment, tweezers, scissors, and a thermometer at minimum. Pain relievers like ibuprofen and acetaminophen, anti-diarrhea medication, antihistamines for allergic reactions, and any prescription medications your family needs with at least a month's supply. If someone in your house needs insulin or other critical meds, talk to your doctor now about getting emergency supplies. A good quality tourniquet and quick clot gauze could save a life in a serious emergency. Take a basic first aid course if you haven't already, because knowing what to do is just as important as having the supplies. Sanitation is something nobody wants to think about, but it becomes a massive problem fast. When toilets won't flush and trash pickup stops, things get gross and unsanitary quick. Stock up on heavy-duty trash bags, lots of them. You'll need them for waste disposal and a dozen other uses. Get toilet paper, obviously, but also wet wipes, hand sanitizer, soap, and disinfectant spray. If your toilets stop working, you can line them with trash bags or set up a bucket toilet system. Kitty litter or sawdust helps control odors. Ladies, make sure you've got feminine hygiene products stocked up. Diapers if you've got little ones, and don't forget about pet waste if you have animals. Bleach and disinfectants will help you keep surfaces clean and prevent disease. This isn't glamorous stuff, but it's absolutely essential for staying healthy. Power and energy backup is where you separate the prepared from the really prepared. Generators are the gold standard if you can afford one and have space to store it safely. Get a gas-powered generator with enough wattage to run your essentials like a fridge, some lights, and maybe a fan or heater. And stock up on gasoline and use fuel stabilizer so it doesn't go bad. Remember, generators produce carbon monoxide, so they must be run outside, away from windows and doors. If a generator isn't in your budget, focus on smaller solutions. Solar chargers for phones and small devices, car chargers that let you use your vehicle's battery, and power banks fully charged and ready to go. Extension cords and power strips will help you make the most of whatever power sources you have. Security becomes a real concern when the grid goes down and people get desperate. I'm not trying to scare you, but it's reality. You need to protect your home and family. Make sure your doors have quality locks and consider reinforcing them with door jammers or security bars. Windows should be lockable, and you might want to board up ground floor ones if things get really bad. Keep your supplies hidden and don't advertise what you have. If you're comfortable with firearms and trained in their use, now's the time to make sure they're accessible and you've got ammunition. Pepper spray, baseball bats, or other defensive tools are good alternatives. Motion sensor lights that run on batteries can deter intruders. Most importantly, get to know your neighbors now. A community that watches out for each other is way safer than everyone going it alone. Cash is king when the grid's down. ATMs won't work, credit card machines are useless, and banks will be closed. You need physical currency on hand. Pull out enough cash to cover at least 2 weeks of expenses, maybe more. And small bills are better than large ones because making change will be difficult. Quarters and dimes are great for small transactions. Keep this cash somewhere safe in your home, not all in one spot in case of theft. Having cash means you can still buy things from people who might have supplies to trade or sell. It also gives you options for emergencies we can't even predict right now. Important documents need to be gathered and protected. When things go sideways, you might need to prove who you are, what you own, or access important information without the internet. Make copies of your driver's licenses, passports, birth certificates and social security cards, insurance policies, property deeds, medical records, and prescriptions. Put these in a waterproof, fireproof container or safe. A USB drive with digital copies is smart too. Just make sure it's encrypted. Keep a list of important phone numbers written down because nobody memorizes numbers anymore. Bank account information, credit card, customer service numbers, and emergency contacts should all be on paper. Tools and supplies that don't need power are going to make your life so much easier. A quality multi-tool or Swiss Army knife is invaluable. Duct tape, zip ties, rope, and bungee cords can fix or secure almost anything. Work gloves protect your hands during cleanup or repairs. A manual can opener I mentioned before, but also manual kitchen tools like a whisk, grater, and cutting board. Tarps and plastic sheeting can patch roofs, create shelter, or protect supplies from weather. Fire extinguishers because the last thing you need during a grid-down situation is your house catching fire. As matches and lighters in waterproof containers, lots of them. A shovel, axe, and saw if you have outdoor space. Basically, think about what normally requires electricity in your daily life and find the manual alternative. Personal hygiene might seem less critical, but it's huge for morale and health. When you can't shower regularly and things are stressful, staying clean helps you feel human. Stock up on dry shampoo, body wipes, toothpaste and toothbrushes, deodorant and soap. If water's scarce, you'll need these alternatives to stay relatively fresh. Trash bags can become makeshift showers if you poke holes in them and hang them up. Sunscreen and lip balm prevent painful burns and chapping. Razor and shaving cream if that's part of your routine. Basically, anything that helps you maintain your normal hygiene routine as much as possible. Entertainment and morale boosters sound frivolous until you're sitting in the dark with nothing to do and stress levels through the roof. Board games, playing cards, books, magazines, coloring books for kids, puzzles, all of this stuff keeps people occupied and minds off the situation. A battery-powered or hand-crank radio gives you music and news. Journals and pens let you document what's happening or just process emotions. Comfort items like favorite snacks, coffee or tea, alcohol for adults who partake. Activities that don't require power are going to keep everyone sane. This is especially important if you've got kids who are used to screens for entertainment. Pet supplies cannot be forgotten if you've got animals. Your pets depend on you completely, and they can't prepare for themselves. Stock up on at least a month of pet food. More if you can. Extra water specifically for them. Medications they need. Flea and tick prevention. Any special dietary items. Litter for cats and extra waste bags for dogs. Leashes, collars with ID tags, and a pet first aid kit. Comfort items like favorite toys or blankets to help keep them calm. If you need to evacuate, have pet carriers ready to go. Your animals are family, and they deserve to be part of your preparedness plan. Here's the thing. Even if April 8th comes and goes without incident, none of this preparation is wasted. Natural disasters, personal emergencies, economic disruptions, these things happen with or without specific dates attached. Being prepared isn't about fear or paranoia. It's about taking responsibility for your own safety and your family's well-being. It's about not being dependent on systems that can and do fail. Every single item I've talked about today will serve you well no matter what happens. Start gathering these essentials now, not April 7th. Spread out your purchases if budget is tight. Hit up dollar stores, thrift shops, and sales. You don't need the fanciest gear, you just need stuff that works. Make a checklist and work through it methodically. Get your household involved so everyone knows where things are and how to use them. Run drills, practice using your camping stove, test your emergency radio, do a trial run of living without power for a few hours. The peace of mind that comes from being prepared is worth every penny and every minute you invest. When everyone else is panicking and fighting over the last bottles of water at the store, and you'll be secure at home with everything you need. That's the goal here. Not to live in fear, but to live with confidence that whatever comes your way, you've got this handled. So take this seriously, take action today, and make sure you're ready before April 8th rolls around. Stay safe out there, everybody. And before you go, I want to emphasize something that ties all of this together. Preparation isn't just about the physical items you stockpile, it's about the mindset you develop. When you start thinking proactively about potential problems, you naturally become more resilient in every area of your life. You start noticing vulnerabilities you never saw before. You become more aware of your surroundings and more attuned to what's happening around you. That awareness alone can save your life in ways we can't even predict right now, and it changes how you approach daily decisions and long-term planning. You become someone who solves problems instead of someone who waits for someone else to fix things. Think about it this way. The people throughout history who made it through crises weren't necessarily the strongest or the smartest. They were the ones who took action before disaster struck. They were the ones who looked at their situation and said, "What could go wrong, and what can I do about it?" That's exactly what you're doing right now by watching this and actually thinking about implementing these suggestions. You're putting yourself in a position to not just survive, but to potentially help others around you who didn't prepare. Consider setting up a family meeting this week where you walk through your preparedness plan together and talk about potential scenarios and what everyone should do. Make sure kids understand the basics of water safety, not wandering off, and staying calm. Make sure elderly family members know where supplies are kept and how to access them. If you have neighbors you trust, coordinate with them. Maybe one household focuses on medical supplies, another on cooking equipment, and you share resources if needed. Community preparedness is actually more resilient than individual preparedness because you're not relying solely on what you can store in your space. One thing I haven't talked about yet is the psychological preparation, which might be just as important as everything else. Anxiety about potential disasters is real and valid, but channeling that into productive action actually reduces anxiety rather than increasing it. As every item you check off your list, every supply you acquire, every skill you learn, it all builds confidence. You move from a state of worry to a state of readiness. That's a powerful shift in how you feel about your life and your ability to handle challenges. So, view this preparation as an investment in your mental health and peace of mind, not just physical safety. Start with the fundamentals and don't get overwhelmed trying to do everything at once. Water is priority one because it's non-negotiable for survival. Once you've got your water situation locked down, move to food. Then work on light, warmth, and cooking capabilities. After that, tackle communication, medical supplies, and security. The order matters because each level builds on the previous one. You're creating a foundation of preparedness that gets stronger as you add more elements. Even if you only get through the first few categories before April 8th, You're already significantly ahead of the vast majority of people who haven't thought about any of this. Use your current resources strategically. If you've already got camping equipment, you've got a head start on cooking and heating. If you have a generator, you're way ahead on power backup. If you have a safe or security system, you've already started on security measures. Work with what you have and supplement where you're weak. You don't need to buy everything brand new or go into debt preparing. Smart shopping, buying strategically during sales, checking clearance sections, and being patient all help you accomplish this without breaking the bank. Remember that this April 8th date is just one potential timeline for grid issues, but the lessons and preparations apply to any scenario. Hurricane season arrives every year. Winter storms knock out power regularly in many parts of the country. Economic disruptions happen without warning. Having supplies and skills means you're ready for any of these situations whenever they occur. You're not living your life on high alert every single day. You're simply acknowledging reality and taking reasonable precautions. That's maturity and responsibility, not paranoia. Let's talk briefly about what happens after an event like this if it does occur. Your first instinct will be to stay informed, which is why that emergency radio is so critical. Listen for official guidance from authorities about what's safe and what's not. Follow basic sanitation practices religiously, because disease spreads incredibly fast when infrastructure fails. Stay in contact with your family and community. Help neighbors if you can do so safely. And maintain your morale by sticking to routines as much as possible. Waking up at normal times, eating regular meals, doing productive tasks, all of this helps maintain mental health during chaos. The supplies we've talked about today represent the bare essentials, but depending on your circumstances, you might need additional items. If you have medical conditions, work with your healthcare provider now to ensure you have adequate emergency supplies of medications. If you live in a cold climate, invest more heavily in heating and insulation. If you're in a hot climate, focus more on cooling solutions and extra water. If you have mobility issues, think about how you'll manage without elevators or modern conveniences. Your specific situation matters and should inform your specific preparations. Don't neglect the importance of physical fitness and health right now. If a crisis hits and you need to physically work harder than normal, being in decent shape matters tremendously. You don't need to be an athlete, just reasonably healthy and capable. Walking, basic exercises, maintaining a healthy weight, these all make you more resilient. Same with sleep and stress management. Start practicing good sleep habits now so you're in decent shape if your sleep gets disrupted during stressful times. Meditation, exercise, or whatever stress management technique works for you, make it a habit before April 8th arrives. One final thought on this whole topic. History shows us that when people believe they can handle challenges, they actually do handle them better. There's a psychological principle called self-efficacy, and it's incredibly powerful. Right now, by taking these steps and gathering these supplies, you're building self-efficacy. You're proving to yourself that you can take action and prepare. You're demonstrating that you're capable and responsible. That confidence carries over into every other area of your life and makes you more resilient across the board. So don't underestimate the power of what you're doing right now. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this entire guide. I know it's a lot of information and it might feel overwhelming, but you don't have to do it all at once. Pick one area, start there, and build from there. Before you click away, please smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next videos. We're constantly putting out practical survival tips, emergency preparedness information, and real talk about staying ready for whatever life throws at you. Your feedback and support mean everything to us and help us create better content. Drop a comment below and let us know what you're most concerned about or what preparations you've already started. The community here is amazing, and your perspective helps others. Stay prepared, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.